Hi everybody, welcome to the Google Digital Garage. Before we start, just to make sure you can see and hear everything correctly, just some technical stuff. If you are having any problems whatsoever seeing or hearing the session, the best thing you can do is hit the refresh button. That should fix most of our issues. If you're still having any problems, then if you look down in the bottom right hand corner of the YouTube video, you will see a little cog, and if you click on that little cog, what you will get is your YouTube settings, and you can adjust those, hopefully make things work a little bit better. So welcome to Building Your Personal Brand Online. My name is Zoe. I'm going to be your sort of host, your trainer for today. A little bit about myself. So I'm a digital marketer. I've been working in marketing for about 9 years, in fact, almost exactly 9 years now. So I've had plenty of experience. I've worked for agencies. I've currently worked for myself, running a small marketing agency. And I've worked with a whole wide range of clients, from sort of small one-person bands all the way up to large sort of multinational corporations. So I've got a lot of experience helping people with their branding, whether that is again, a huge corporation, or as is the case today, when we're looking at your own personal brand, whether that's as a self-employed business person, or whether it's about finding a job for yourself and building your brand on something like LinkedIn or something like that. I'm also not alone, so I'm not going to be the only person who is helping out today. I am joined today by Rushane. Now, Rushane is our moderator, and they're going to be in the chat, talking to you guys, answering your questions, asking you some questions, sharing links. They're going to be helping you out no end. So make sure that you say hi, make sure that you show your appreciation for Rushane. And yeah, it should be a really great session. They are a experienced marketer as well, and I'm sure they're going to be bringing an awful lot of expertise to help you guys out today. So just another little bit of housekeeping before we start. We are running this as part of a broader offering from the Google Digital Garage. We've got a wide range of courses. They're all completely free. They are all just like this one. They're live YouTube broadcasts, and you can sign up for as many of them as you want. So there is a link to all of our webinars in the video description. If you click on that, you'll be able to find everything there that you need. So fantastic. What are we going to learn today then? Well, we're going to be looking at building your personal brand. And that means three things. So first of all, we're going to sort of understand what a brand is, understand what your online presence is, things like that. Then we're going to move on to building your brand online. And then finally, we're going to look at how you can increase your visibility a little bit, just some tips and some tricks on how you can go about doing that, along with sharing some tools. In between each of the, after each of those sections, we are going to have a quick break for questions. So if you do have any questions as we go along, feel free to ask them right in the chat. Ask them as soon as you get them. You don't have to wait for the question break. That way, we can either Rushane will be answering some of them in the chat, or she'll be passing some of them over to me, and then I can answer them on the question breaks. So please do ask them as soon as you get them. There's no such thing as a silly question. So anything that you have to ask is more than welcome. We love getting questions because they really do make these sessions a little bit more personalized, a little bit better for everybody involved. One last thing before we get started, we are offering free one-to-one mentoring from Google. So for anybody who's working for a small business or for a charity based in the UK, we do have free hour-long mentoring sessions available to anybody who wants to sign up. You can sign up there on the link on the screen. That's g.co/UK mentoring. It is unfortunately only available in the UK at the minute, or for businesses based in the UK. I'm not sure if there are any plans to roll that out elsewhere at the minute, but certainly for now, if you do work for a small business or for a charity in the UK, you can get a free hour-long mentoring session with someone just like myself, and the Google Digital Garage coach, who can help you out with anything that you want help with to do with your business, growing your business, or potentially job seeking. We can look at CVs, we can look at websites, we can look at your social media, whatever it is that you need help with, we will do our best. So Let's start with understanding your online presence and your personal brand, and just scanning through the chat at the minute. And I can see we've got lots and lots of people, lots of hellos. Hello to, who have we got? Hello to Simran, hello to Masood, hello to Emily, to Anmol, hello to Anna. Let me know if I'm mispronouncing anyone's names. Really great to see. I see we've got people here from India, Bangladesh, United Arab Emirates. Incredible, really great to see everyone joining us from around the world. It's lovely when we get a global session like this, so hopefully you will all be able to get loads and loads out of this, and thank you for joining us. Welcome everybody. So what do we mean when we say brand? And this is my first question to you guys. What do you think we mean when we say the word brand? What defines a brand? What do we mean by that word? What does it mean? Because you can use the word brand to just mean a company, right? You can say that Pepsi is a brand, or Coca-Cola is a brand, or Microsoft is a brand. But what does that word actually mean? Because it doesn't just mean company, it means something slightly different. When we're talking about your personal brand, then it's obviously even more different, because as an individual, you're not a company, you're not a sort of a multinational like Coca-Cola or Pepsi. So what do we mean by a brand? Pop your answers in the chat. There is a small delay between me speaking and you hearing me, and obviously that means there's going to be a delay between you hearing me and me actually getting the answers. So there might be a quick delay, so I might move on. I can see that Anmol has said it's a service or concept. Okay, great answer. Thank you for sharing that, Anmol. It is absolutely that you could definitely call it a service or a concept, but it's a little bit more than that, isn't it? Especially when we're talking about personal branding. What do we mean by personal branding? Like I said, keep sharing your answers in the chat. I'm going to move on because there is a delay, but I will get back to them as soon as I see them. But let me know what you think. What do you think a brand is? So we're going to start off with your online presence. Before we look at brands, what is your online presence? Well, your online presence is everything you do online. You might have heard the term footprint or digital footprint being used, which refers to your online presence, because it's not just that you do something online and that's it, that sort of stays with you. Actually, when you do something online, everything does kind of get recorded somewhere. And that some of that is more obvious than others. So let's have a look at some of the different ways that you can have an online presence. So we'll start with the obvious ones, content that you've created. So if you upload a photograph of yourself, maybe on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, that is content that you've created that is put online and associated with your identity and your name. And again, that doesn't just have to be photos. It could be a status. It could be a video. It could be an article you've written. It could be anything, a screenshot, a tweet, absolutely anything. If you created it, it's going to go online and it's going to be associated with your name. And that's the obvious stuff, right? We know that, the things that we put on our social media profiles, they are essentially part of our online presence. But it goes a little bit further than that, because think about the things that you've been tagged in. If somebody else takes a photograph and tags you in it, that photograph is associated with you, whether or not you want to. I mean, obviously you can ask for that tag to be removed, but you don't necessarily have control over somebody else tagging you in a photograph. Same with comments, same with articles. I don't know if anyone's ever had this happen to them or seen this happen, where another company has, or a person has posted something on Facebook, and somebody has tagged you in a comment saying, John Smith, this reminded me of you, or this is just like you are, isn't it? Or doesn't this remind you of the time this happened with Steve, or something like that? Tagging you in the comments of something, and again associating your name and your identity with that photo or whatever that was commenting on. Think about arguments that you might have got into online, or discussions, or again, people might tag you in comments so that they can reply to you. But that is, again, connected to you and your presence and your online personality. And then even further from that, we've got your internet activity. So cookies, for example, you might have heard the term cookies when we're talking about online presence. When we say cookies, all we mean is every time you visit a website, you get a small amount of computer code that attaches itself to your internet browser. And that piece of code is called a cookie. And all it does is say that you visited this website on this at this time on this date. It doesn't do much else than that, but it's what other websites and advertisers use to work out where you've been, what your interests are, what sort of things are relevant to you. A lot of companies use cookies to try and make the internet more personalized to you and who you are and what you're interested in. But they can also be used in a variety of different ways, again, to track your online presence, to work out who you are. Same with your browsing history, same with your online purchases. This stuff is not easy to get hold of. It is essentially personal information. So I don't want to worry you and make you think that you're being tracked at all times by anybody. But it is part of your online presence, and people like advertisers, although they can't access your browsing history directly, the advertising algorithm will be able to work out who you are and what you're interested in from your browsing history and use that to advertise to you. So you've all got this online presence that is, to a certain extent, not as controllable as maybe your personal brand you would like it to be. Now, speaking of personal brands, let's look back at the comments and see if we've got some more answers. Looks like we have. So Ellie said a brand is something such as a product, a service, or an identity. Yeah, we absolutely would use the word brand, again, to use product or service. We would use the word brand to mean that. But I like the word identity that you've used there, Ellie. I think that's much closer to what we mean by it. Because it's not just a product, is it? If I've got a can of Coca-Cola, I wouldn't hold up and say that's a brand, that is. Because it's not, it's just the product, it's not the brand itself. The brand is the identity behind it. I think that's a really good word, Ellie. Simran has said a presence of your products into customers' minds. I love that. That's a really good idea, Simran. Yeah, it is kind of absolutely. Your brand is what other people think about you. I really like that because it's not necessarily deliberate, right? Your brand isn't just what you put out there. It's not you saying, I could go, hi, everyone, I'm Zoe. I'm really clever and really honest and really brilliant, just in general. I would be telling you that. But if that's not true, if you're looking at me right now and thinking, well, she's not very clever or brilliant, well, then that becomes part of my brand. And if I've told you that I'm really clever and I'm not demonstrating that, you're probably also going to think I'm not very honest either. So that becomes part of my brand, whether I want it to or not. So, it absolutely is a presence of your products into a customer's mind. I will go one step further though, Simran, and I will say that, yes, it absolutely is about your products, but it can also be about you as an individual and the presence of your company and you as a person in the customer's mind. I mean, one example at the moment, really sort of the hot button issue is Elon Musk, who's recently bought Twitter, and his personal brand is getting kind of devastated because a lot of people are saying that he's done the wrong thing buying Twitter, that he's overpaid for it, and that he's mismanaging it. So even though he wants his brand to be, a genius, an inventor, somebody who's really great at business, actually right now, his brand is becoming something of a failure because he's made some decisions that a lot of people think are not genius decisions. They're not the decisions of someone who's very good at business. So even though he wants his brand to be one thing, it's actually being shown to be another thing in a lot of people's minds. Now, there's no product associated with Elon Musk. Obviously, he owns businesses, but the brand is purely his brand. It's his personality that people are sort of looking at and judging. So it's a little bit more than products, but it is absolutely the presence of that personality in the customer's mind. Brilliant. And then last but not least, Anmol said, personal branding is the process of defining and promoting what you are and what your qualities as an individual are. I love that. And I think that is exactly what we're going to be looking at, Anmol. So well done there. Really great definitions, everyone. Thank you for sharing all of those. Really great answers, everyone. Thank you so much. Brilliant. So hopefully you can see how your online presence and your personal brand are linked then, because again, if it's the presence of you inside the minds of your customers or your potential employers or your peers, then the things you do online count towards that. Again, whether you like it or not, whether you want them to or not. So we need to be sensible about that. You know, a lot of us grew up in the internet age. I mean, I first got a social media account when I was 18, um, just when I was going to university, when I was still basically a kid. So my online presence contains my thoughts and my experiences from when I was basically a child, when I was not a professional, when I was not a marketer, when, you know, frankly, I did a lot of silly things, as a lot of people do at university. Um, that's part of my online presence. So do I want that to be part of my personal brand? Well, luckily there are some options. If you do find that you've got some things associated with your online presence that you don't want associated with them, then there are some options for cleaning that up. So first thing that you should all do, really, really, really great thing for everybody to do is to look at your privacy settings on social media. Certainly, for example, Facebook, if anybody has a Facebook account, you can change your privacy settings so that the only people who can see anything that you post or that you're tagged in are people who are already your Facebook friends, which means that no strangers, no employers, no people interested in who you are as a person are necessarily going to be going to easily be able to see what it is that you've posted. And of course, you can always delete your old profiles if you don't use them anymore. And often people say that you should delete those profiles because if they're just being left and not being used, they are potentially targets for hackers to maybe impersonate you, because they know that if you've not used for example, your Facebook account for 3 years, then there's a good chance they'll be able to do stuff and pretend to be you without you noticing. So there is the potential of security risk there. So again, deleting old profiles. But if you don't want to delete old profiles, you can always just delete old posts. Try and make sure that everything that's on your social media accounts is an accurate reflection of who you are right now. There are other things that you can use to scan third-party content as well, so in case you're mentioned elsewhere. So Google Alerts is one thing that tracks mentions of anything. You can set an alert for essentially anything. So I could set a Google alert for trains, and whenever there's a piece of news about trains, Google will send me a notification. I could set a whole bunch of different alerts for different topics, but you can set one for your own name, and just in case, just see, or the name of your company, in case anybody is talking about them online. There's also Social Mention, which does a very similar thing, but for social media. So those are two tools that you can use to help you sort of monitor your online presence to make sure it doesn't get out of your control. So really quick question for everybody then. When does an online presence become a personal brand? Again, pop your answers in the chat. Really simple question here. I think I might have even already mentioned it. At what point does your online presence turn into your personal brand? Any ideas? And again, there's a little bit of a delay, so I'm going to just quickly move on, but we'll come back to this question. So when does an online presence become a personal brand? So maybe a little bit of a hint to what the answer is going to be. A personal brand is who you are, but it's also how you're different from your peers. Now, your peers are your friends, your competitors, anyone in the same sort of situation as you. So this could be true if you have started your own business, then your peers might be other businesses in the same sector as you. If you're going for a job in accounting, your peers are the other people who are also in the same sort of career stage, going for the same sort of jobs. So your brand is therefore how you are different from the other people around you. So we can do this by looking at larger brands and seeing what they have done. Think about, again, the difference between Coca-Cola and Pepsi. Very, very, very similar companies. They're basically selling the same product with, very small differences in taste. So what have they done to differentiate themselves? What have they done to make them seem different from each other? You do the same with McDonald's and Burger King, or McDonald's, Burger King, and KFC. You could do the same with Ford and Vauxhall and Jaguar and Porsche and Tesla, or the car brands, things like that. How are they different from each other? And looking at some answers right now, what point does an online presence become a personal brand? So Amala said, when you're promoting you as an individual. And Simran has said, when people recognize you by your products or service, or they trust you. So Simran, let's start with you. I think that's a really good answer. That is certainly the goal of personal branding. You want people to recognize you by your products or your services, and you want them to trust you. But that's not necessarily what becoming a brand means. Anmal, I think you're very close as well. When you're promoting yourself as an individual, yeah, basically, we're on the same lines. Basically, an online presence becomes a brand when you are creating content with a purpose. So as soon as you deliberately try and shape how people see you, shape what people think about you, then you are becoming a brand. You're doing branding. And that is what differentiates those two things. So let's have a look at some brands then, and how they maybe create opportunities in real life. So we've got two brands here, online brands. We've got Sarah Ritchie and Sheena Maui. So Sarah is a professional health and wellness coach. They've been a professional coach since 2010. They started vlogging, fitness videos, and workouts. And the opportunities that they've got from this is that they are now paid by fitness brands to wear their clothing and use their equipment. This is what's called influencer marketing, is that other brands will look at Sarah Ritchie and go, okay, we know you've got a good following. We know that you've got followers who trust you. Therefore, if you wear our products and if you use our equipment, people will trust our equipment as a result, especially if you have a good experience with it. So that is absolutely influencer. I can see that Siddharth has just said influencer marketing as well. And yeah, absolutely. Similarly, we've got Sheena there. Sheena is, as you can see from her bio, she's a London vegan, a recipe creator. She's got a cookbook out. She's a fitness and Muay Thai fan, and she has got a YouTube channel. She started in 2016 just to collate food images, so just pictures of food that she'd taken, but it got a lot of interest. She started getting a lot of followers and a lot of fans, and soon she had people asking for her recommendations for where is a good place to get vegan food. And since then, she's become a sort of a restaurant critic. So again, using influencer marketing, Sheena has received invitations from local restaurants to try their food in return for a review. So she's again created her opportunities in real life, and off the back of that, she has a cookbook. So there are real opportunities here for online brands. Obviously, it depends on the sort of the social network that you're on. It depends on what you do, but there are absolutely opportunities in real life for online brands. Now, even if you're not looking for that kind of opportunity, your online personal brand really does matter. Remember that this is UK statistics. 69% of employers, conduct social media checks on their employees. So before they hire somebody, they will look at their social media. Now, it's not all employers. I actually don't think employers should do this to a certain extent. I personally wouldn't. And again, I've been in situations where I wouldn't. But 1 in 5 have said that they haven't hired someone because of what they have found. So whether or not you should or shouldn't check your employees' social media, certainly there have been plenty, 1 in 5 employers who have found something that they didn't want to see on someone's social media and not hired them as a result. And actually, as much as in the majority of cases, I don't think you should really check people's social medias. Actually, you don't know who people necessarily are. And there have been cases of people who have got really influential jobs, but have been seen posting things online that are maybe bigoted or racist, sexist, homophobic, transphobic, something like that. And their employers have sort of said, well, actually, no, I don't want to employ somebody with those views. And that could be, that is, again, as an employer, you do want to check that kind of thing. So, employers do rely on social media to make sure that they're hiring the right people. Now, I don't think that you should not hire somebody because they, posted something silly when they were 18 about getting drunk or anything like that. But, there are dangerous views out there that people that, indicate that people might be really bad employees. So you can understand that. Similarly, 89% of consumers between the ages of 33 and 54 trust online reviews as much as they trust personal recommendations. So they trust the opinions of strangers online above sometimes their friends and their peers. Your opinion matters, but also what other people think of you matters. And it goes beyond, professional lives as well, on your personal life. So a study of 2,000 American dating app users found that 77% of people said that they researched a date online before they meet face to face. Again, similar sort of thing. They're checking, right, this person seems nice, but I'm going to check their social media accounts just in case there's something about them that I really wouldn't like. So, the online personal brand absolutely does matter. Amal, I'm afraid because these presentations are built by a UK team. They're made by Google UK. We do not have stats at the minute for any other countries, but I don't know if Rushain might be able to find those for you, but I'm not sure if they've done the similar studies in the UAE. So all stats, unless I mention otherwise, are going to be for the UK, but they're fairly similar worldwide from what I know. So in order to give your brand purpose and to really understand what your brand is and what it should be, you need a goal to give your brand purpose. So have a look at these personal trainers and think about what their goals are. And in fact, I'm going to sort of show you and give you the spoiler version of this. So we've got Sarah Ritchie again. She's on the left-hand side. She's letter A here. Sarah Ritchie, she's put a photograph of her. She looks like she's just had a workout, and the caption says, 5-star fitness, Sarah Ritchie at Woodville Hotel boot camp consists of 3 grueling days of exercising like the trainer to the stars. Read our full review at the link in bio. #luxury wellness. So she is marketing herself based on satisfaction. She's trying to show the satisfaction of a good job well done, of working really hard and feeling really great afterwards. For the kind of people who really enjoy exercise and enjoy that feeling, the kind of people who would go and do that, a boot camp consisting of 3 grueling days of exercising, but it's #luxury wellness. It's people who would find a holiday in going and exercising that much. Next to her, we've got Lean Fitness and letter B. Lean Fitness, we've got a professional looking website. We've got client testimonials. We've got well structured, well organized website. It's clear that they're trying to go on a basis of quality. They're showing how high quality their website is, that they're maybe being a little bit easier for beginners, people who aren't really sure about the whole personal fitness world and want to feel like they're in safe hands. They're more interested in that than they are about satisfaction or about Justin Cooper, who is C there. Now, Justin Cooper's got some pictures there on his Instagram about exercising. There are pictures of him sort of in the middle of a workout or after a workout, but there's also pictures of pictures of a meal that he's had, pictures of him in a boxing ring with someone who maybe he's coached, pictures of him kissing somebody who presumably is his girlfriend. These all combine to credibility. Justin Cooper is marketing himself based on the idea that he's somebody that you can be friends with, that is somebody that you can form a personal relationship with. He's really putting his personality out there. So worth having a think about, who the target audience is for each of these people are. Have a think about that in your head. Maybe see if you can work it out. Who are the different people who these businesses are marketing towards? And if you add these goals to your profile, you will see that there is a difference into what you're able to achieve. So we've got a person we've made up here called Fatima Allen. And Fatima Allen has added a goal to her LinkedIn profile. So the first profile on the left Her bio says that, oh, sorry, her captions there says that she is a regional sales manager. And her bio says that she is a sales-focused individual who enjoys the dynamic atmosphere of working in a team. Now, that doesn't really differentiate her, right? Anybody working in sales is going to probably describe themselves as sales-focused and enjoying working in a team. Again, most people would say that they enjoy working in a team. Doesn't really set her apart from anybody else. But if we add the goal, if we make it clear what she's looking for and what she's hoping to achieve, we've got sales development leader, not just a regional sales manager. She's phrasing herself as a leader. Scaling global biz dev teams to deliver quality inbound and outbound pipeline to closers. Now, I don't know what that means. This is very much not my industry. But you can tell, even if you don't know what it means, that this is a lot clearer as to what she is, to what she hopes to achieve, to what she has done, to what her job is, what her role is. So people looking at her, instead of looking at just another sales manager, are going to be much clearer about what areas of sales she's more interested in, as well as sort of her skills and what she's particularly good at. And then underneath, we've got, again, an improved bio. Sales development leader who is passionate about scaling global business development teams and empowering them to deliver quality inbound and outbound pipeline to closers. I am also the founder and director of the hashtag SDR Secrets LinkedIn video channel, which provides success stories and top tips created for SDRs by SDRs. Now, again, I don't necessarily know what all that means, but we don't have to know what it means to understand that it is a more specific goal, positioning herself as more of a thought leader, somebody who has strong opinions and valuable insight to share. So adding that goal, really, really helpful. Just looking to see if we've got any questions. Doesn't look like we do, and we're a little bit actually behind time, so I'm going to maybe get a bit of a move on for the rest of the session. But feel free to ask questions in the chat, and we'll get to them whenever we can. So we will look at the next phase now, which is building your brand online. So we're going to look at how you practically go about building that brand. We're going to start with a clear goal. We're going to look at a target audience and then a content plan. So in other words, what we need to look at is, what do you want to achieve? Who do you need to actually engage with if you're going to achieve that? And what are you sharing that's going to get your target audience actually interested in you and your brand? Again, whether that's you as a business person, whether that's you as someone who's self-employed or as a contractor, or if you're looking at a new job and you're trying to get potential employers interested in you. So first of all, you need a goal. So what is your goal? What are you hoping to achieve? We've got 3 goals here. Number 1 is find new job opportunities. Number 2 is find more followers. And number 3 is find new clients. Now, 2 of those I think are very good goals. New opportunities and new clients, those are very good. I would say that find more followers shouldn't be your overall end goal. We should want to know why. Why are you wanting to find more followers? Is it so that you can become an influencer? Is it so that you can encourage people to read your blog or buy your book? Or what exactly are those new followers going to do for you? Whereas followers in themselves aren't necessarily exactly what you want, but it might just be that casually you would like to have a big following online, and that is fine too. Now, ways to define that. Think about, again, what do you want? And phrase this sentence. Fill out this sentence for yourself. I want to present myself online like this because I want to this. So I want to present myself online like a knowledgeable marketer because I want to work training people in marketing. That might be mine. If we work out the second part, what do you want? Because I want to. Well, okay, well, I want to train people. I love my job training people. I want to train more people. So what would I need to present myself online in order to achieve my goal of training more people? Well, a knowledgeable marketer would probably be the right first step. So this is something that you guys can all fill out for yourself. And then an important part, I will know I have been successful when. So I will know I've been successful when I might say training people is my full-time job, whereas at the minute I'm working in marketing Again, I mentioned at the start, and this is kind of part of that. Maybe I will be successful when training is all I do, when I'm just a trainer. So that's a way to define your goal. You might say, I will know I've been successful when I'm working in that job that you really want, or I will know I've been successful when my business has a turnover of £1 million a year, something like that. You know, how will you know that you have succeeded? And add some detail. Absolutely, add as much detail as you can. So find new job opportunities. That's a good goal, but we could make it better. Find new job opportunities as a chef near Liverpool. That's an even better goal. It's more specific. It's going to tell us a lot more about who our target audience is. But we could get more specific, of course, because there's different types of chef, aren't there? So you could be a sushi chef, you could be a chef in a pub, you could be a chef at a fast food restaurant, you could be a chef at a really posh, fancy Michelin-starred restaurant. So what exactly is that goal? Because there's going to be very different target audiences for all of those different types of being a chef. So again, add detail wherever you can. Again, find more followers of oboe enthusiasts. Find new clients to buy your pottery aprons. You be as specific as you can. What do we mean by new clients? Do we want repeat customers? Do we want one-off customers? What's your business model? Think about every single piece of detail that you can add to your goal. And then we can look at our target audience. Who do you need to reach in order to make your goal come true? Who is the audience that you're targeting? Now, again, let's think about our chefs. We've got a chef or somebody who wants to work as a chef in or around Liverpool. Let's say he wants to work for a Michelin-starred restaurant. He wants to work in a really, really fancy place, really expensive, really high-class, high-quality food. Who does he need to reach in order to make his goal come true? Well, let's build it out like this. Well, first of all, age. If we're looking at people who are running their own Michelin star restaurants, we're probably looking at a little bit older because they'll need the time to get off the ground. So people like, Gordon Ramsay or people like that. So we're maybe looking at 35 at the youngest, probably closer to sort of 40, 50. Gender. Well, most professional chefs are male. Whether that's right or wrong is another conversation, but at the minute, most professional chefs are male. So on average, we're probably looking at targeting a man. On average. All of this is going to be averaged. We're not going to be able to, because there's no such thing as a single monolithic target audience, right? If we are targeting, Michelin-starred chefs, some of them are going to be really young. Some of them are going to be much older, 70s and 80s. Some of them are going to be male. Some of them are going to be female. They're all going to be different. We're just looking for the sort of the average, the most common, so we can build out that sort of most common target audience. So we've got age. Let's say our age is about 40. We've got gender. We're saying male. Location. Well, we know that they're based in Liverpool. Has an account on, right? Well, this is where maybe we need to do some more research. Where might they have an account on? If they're older, they're more likely to have an account on Facebook and less likely to use something like LinkedIn or TikTok. But then, quite a lot of chefs, because it's a very visual medium, you can see pictures of food, you can see videos of food being created. They might well have accounts on TikTok and Instagram. So we'd have to do some research there. What about likes, dislikes? What do they read? What films do they watch? Again, we could learn a lot from maybe reading interviews here. Let's read interviews with Gordon Ramsay and Jamie Oliver and Marco Pierre White and Heston Blumenthal, and I can't think of any other chefs, but let's read interviews with them and find out, are there any things that they have in common? We could do research. YouGov has some data available. Ask the audience, ask the public, has some information available. What do they care about? What's important to them? And what do they spend money on? And spending money, by the way, that could be as a business owner. Again, if you're selling a product, you need to know, right, what does your audience buy? What kind of products do they buy? So you can understand what motivates them to buy. If you're looking for a job, you're talking about employers, and the thing that they're spending money on is staff. Again, what are they looking for? What encourages them to spend money on a member of staff? So that would be how you go about building out that target audience and getting a picture of who it is you're supposed to be contacting. So there are tools to find this. First of all, Audience Finder. Now, this is a great starting point in the UK. That at the minute, again, I don't think there is an Audience Finder equivalent for other countries in the world, but certainly for the UK, Audience Finder, which is just audiencefinder.org, offers analytics on the sort of the UK cultural landscape. But also, if you can get started with your personal brand, you can maybe learn something from that. So you could use social media business profiles such as Instagram for Business or Twitter for Business. And what that does is it shows you analytics about who your audience is, who they, what sort of thing that they like, the kinds of accounts that they follow. Similarly, Facebook has page insights that will do the same thing. It will show you the insights on, who exactly follows your Facebook page. And finally, LinkedIn People Search. You could just do a search for any job title, any industry, and it will come up with a lot of profiles. And you can have a look and see, well, okay, if I search for Michelin-starred chef, for example, what does that come up with? Are there any things in common? Are there any things that they're all concerned about, that they're talking about? We can learn about them that way. And of course, if you know that you've got a specialist goal, you can use a specialist platform. So one of the things here, we've got a really obvious one. If your goal is to sell homemade jewelry, well, is there a place where you've got a pre-made target audience for people looking to buy homemade jewelry? For example, Etsy or Not on the High Street are two websites that are entirely sort of based around that kind of homemade crafts. So that's a specialist platform that you can buy, that you can sell on, for example, if you know that that is your target audience. So then once we've thought about what our brand is, we've thought about who we're targeting, we need to think about again, how do we describe our brand? So which words describe your brand? If I was to look at this for me, I might put informative, I might put likable, I hope, and I might put trustworthy. Maybe that's how I would want to define my brand: informative, trustworthy, and likable. That would be the things that I would want people to think about when they think about me. It's worth picking out 3 words that describe your brand from this table. If you could pop them in the chat, that would be amazing. It would be really great to see. What 3 words describe your brand? This is a really good exercise because it forces you to kind of distill your brand down to the basics, to the 3 most important things about your brand, who you are, and what exactly you represent. And then step 3, after you've done that, then you can start creating your handle and your biography. You can start really building that brand. So this is our fictional person, Fatima Allen. Her handle is at Fatima_Allen. Now, your handle should always be your name, whether that's your business name or your personal name. In this case, Fatima Allen's personal name. Try not to use numbers if you can, if your name is already taken. If you use numbers, it looks like a bot, it looks fake. So we want to try and avoid that as much as possible, but you can use underscores. You could change your surname and first name around, so Allen Fatima. If you've got a middle name, maybe Fatima S. Allen, or Fatima, I don't know what an S word is, I've completely, Sharon, Fatima Sharon Allen. Oh, that's a funny sounding name. But that could also be a way of doing it, using your middle name or your middle initial, and again, using underscores, but just in order to avoid using numbers. And then we've got your bio. So Fatima's is customer service manager from Manchester, interested in content marketing opportunities, Open University graduate in English literature, regular contributor to BuzzFeed and the Huffington Post community. New ideas or opportunities, email fatima_allen@gmail.com. Note as well that her handle is the same as her email address. That's good, consistent branding. So how did you come up with that biography? Well, here is an example of how you would go about doing that. So first of all, start with your offer. Who are you and what is it that you actually do? So Fatima is a customer service manager. That's who she is and what she does. But also, what is she interested in? What can she offer? She can offer a content marketer. because that's what she's interested in. Then her expertise. She's an Open University graduate in English literature and a regular contributor to BuzzFeed and the Huffington Post. This isn't a CV. You know, we're not showing every single thing about Fatima. We're not showing all of her jobs at all. Just the most important things that she thinks is going to impress her target audience. And then she's going to finish off with a call to action. What do you want your audience to do? In this case, new ideas or opportunities, email fatima_allen@gmail.com. And that is the way to structure a bio. Who are you? What do you have to offer? What are you interested in? Goes first. Then your expertise. What is it that you actually have done? What's your experience? And then you can finish with your call to action. This is what I want you to do now. If you've got new ideas or opportunities, email me here. And remember to be consistent with your content as well. You want to build trust, right? So you want your audience to know what to expect. Make sure you're choosing photos that complement your handle. So for example, we've got here @that_health_doctor. Now that health doctor probably has got something to do with healthy eating, right? Based on the fact that the handle has got health in, and we've got some pictures of what looks like healthy food. Over on the right-hand side, we've got John Bread Maker. And again, we've got a picture of some arms making bread. Presumably that's John. Presumably this account is about making bread. These things are consistent. They tell your audience what to expect. In the middle there, we've got I love cakes, do you? We've got a picture of a man playing a guitar. Now, is this account about cakes? And it just that happens to be a nice photo of the person who runs it? Is it a music account? Is his band called I Love Cakes Do You? Is it about something completely different? He's just chosen a name that he thinks that he likes. It's hard to tell. There's no consistency there. It's not immediately obvious what that account is about. So we want that consistency. We want people to be able to see exactly what we have to offer. Here is a good example of Sheena Maui's page. So Sheena_Maui, we've just used her full name. If we wanted to improve that, we might put that because of her offering, we might put something like Sheena Maui vegan or something like that to really add to the kind of obvious, right, this is what we're about. We've got a relevant photo. Again, this is a personal account. So we've got a picture of the person. So you can see immediately we're dealing with Sheena Maui and this is who she is. And then underneath that, we've got the bio, living that vegan life, London vegan, recipe creator, get my cookbook now. We're all about food. And we've got content that reflects that. Pictures of food, looks like vegan food. So it's a good way of going about it. So your turn to do this. What I want you to think about is what your handle and your biography could be. What skills, strengths, and experience could you highlight? What about your target audience? What do they want to hear? And try and write your bio and give yourself 4 minutes and 280 characters. The reason for that is that it forces you to focus on the most important thing about you, about your business. Just taking that 4 minutes and timing yourself means that you're going to immediately focus, and you're naturally going to focus on the most important things. You're not going to get bogged down in a lot of different possibilities. So that's your sort of homework for today. I'd really like to see everybody going about and trying this out. So pausing for questions. Let's have a look, see if we've got anything. Doesn't look like we do. So again, we're going to move on to the last section, which is all about increasing your visibility. So once you've created your brand, once you understand your brand, how do you go about making it more visible online? First of all, LinkedIn. Number one thing that you can do is complete your profile. Now, LinkedIn is quite good at this, and it tells you whether you've completed your profile or not, and you will get, it will pop up and say, you've not completed your profile. Here's what you need to do to complete it. It's important because recruiters, people who are looking to hire people on LinkedIn, will search using a product called Recruiter that searches by things like job title and location, but also by skills. If you complete your profile, then it means when they search for somebody with your skills and your experience, you're more likely to come up for that. So make sure you've got as much information as possible about you on LinkedIn. Make sure you're giving and requesting recommendations, endorsing people as well. If you endorse somebody on LinkedIn, they're more likely to endorse you back, and that makes both of you look better. And of course, link to your other profiles, link to your website, your Facebook, your Twitter, your YouTube channel. Again, make sure that those are all appropriate, that those are professional. But if you do have professional profiles, link to them so that people can get a more well-rounded picture of you and who you are as a person. Growing your network online. If you want to grow a network, whether that's a network of clients or a network of possible employers, there are a few things that you can do. And the first thing is posting unique and high quality content. Now, this is easier said than done, right? You know, if we could all just post really great content, then, well, there'd be no need for people like me telling you to do this. But what you should be focusing on is what exactly would provide value for your audience. What would they find valuable? And try and work out what that would be and then post that. You want to also connect with your audience. Make sure you respond to comments, whether that's comments on your LinkedIn post or comments on your Facebook page. Make sure you're talking to people and having a conversation, not just talking at them. Be consistent and post regularly. So that both means post the same sort of thing. Don't post, you know, content about technology one day, then content about fitness the next day, then content about cooking the day after that, then content about video games the day after that. Make it clear, you know, this is what I'm all about. And be regular with your posting. That doesn't mean post often, although you should post as often as you can. But what I don't want people to think is that they have to post, you know, 10 times a day. You don't have to. If you can post 10 times a day, that's great. But it's more important to post regularly. So once a week, twice a week, try and work out how much you can fit in. This is something that I'm having a struggle with. I've got a side business at the minute, and I started out by posting 3 times a week. And then my main business sort of took off a little bit, and I've been struggling to post at all. So that's not great. I don't want that. So maybe it would be worth me going down to posting once a week instead, so I can be consistent with that. That's much better than posting frequently, sorry. Again, make sure you're commenting, you're liking, and you're reacting to other people. Don't just limit yourself to talking to people on your own posts. Talk to them on their posts as well. Be visual if you can. You've got images, you've got videos, you've got GIFs. These are all available to you. Use these images, use these videos to illustrate your points and to make things more visual. And finally, use networking tools as well. So BuzzSumo is an example of a tool that ranks content by the amount of engagement it's getting. So you can use that to find really good content, comment on it, and share your own view on it. Think about how this applies to job seekers as well. Remember, your brand as a job seeker is almost always going to be somebody who really understands your industry, your career path. So how could you be talking about your career, whether that's, you know, marketing or being a chef or being an accountant or being a firefighter? You know, what exactly could you be saying to show potential employers that you really know your stuff, that you'd be a great hire? How could you network with people? How could you build more followers and build trust with your audience? And of course, how do we create content that people are more likely to share, which is a really important part of this? How do we create that unique, high quality content? Well, remember, images, they're so important. Images with your updates get 150% as many retweets as tweets without images. On Instagram, photos of people's faces get 38% more likes than photos without people's faces. That's a significant amount. And live broadcasted videos get 3 times more views than traditional videos. So all of these things show that, you know, using imagery, using, you know, live broadcasts, you use all the tools that are available to you. It's going to, again, help you become more engaging and help your content get more shared. And of course, try and be consistent as well with your visuals. These are 3 images from the same account. Now you'll notice there are 3 images of different things. There's some sunglasses, there's a pool, and there's the view out of a plane. But they all look similar. They've got a very similar color scheme of this kind of faded blue and yellow. They're all impersonal. There's no faces in them, which again might be a bad thing. They all look professionally done. They're all a little bit posed. So they all look very similar. So try and think about how you can do that. There's an app called VSCO, that's VSCO, that's a free photo editing app that you can use to just tweak your photos a little bit so they've got the same kind of feel, same look to them. And wherever possible, try to use natural light and to avoid staging photos. Again, wherever possible, look for sort of moments in your day that represent what you're trying to talk about and what you'd like to talk to. And use those sort of natural photos rather than getting ones that you've posed. Remember, there's interactive media as well on different social networks. You can use polls, you can use stories, you can just use posts, or you can live stream. Be as interactive as possible, get people talking and start those conversations. Brilliant. So that's it. That's your turn. So now what can you do? I want you to think about what kind of content your target audience is going to want to see. I want you to think about the message that you want to communicate, and I want you to think about what your visual look and feel is. And that's going to help you work out what content that you should be sharing and make you so much more visible online when you do that. So we've got a final question break. Amal, you said your brand is all about marketing, graphic designing, and project management. I love to bake cakes and make jams, but I'm not sure how I can use these both. I love clothing businesses. I love sports like badminton. I love marketing, graphic designing, and project management. How can I make this one category? And there's a simple answer to that, and that's you don't want to make that one category. You've got 3, maybe 4 different things there. You've got marketing, graphic design, project management. That's your sort of professional side. You've got your hobbies of baking cakes and making jams. And you've got the sports and fitness side, so badminton and clothing. Those are 3 very different topics with 3 very different audiences. And actually, I wouldn't combine them all into the same thing. I would maybe have different accounts if you want to put the effort into doing that. And maybe you could do them on different social networks as well. So maybe on LinkedIn, you can talk all about marketing, graphic design, and project management. Maybe on Instagram, you can take photographs of your cakes and your jams and your hobbies. Maybe on Twitter, you can talk about business and sports and badminton and things like that. But by splitting up your brand like that for these different audiences, you're cultivating 3 different audiences. If you cram them all together into the same brand, the same exact sort of target audience, what you end up is that your target audience is people who like marketing, graphic design, project management, and like cakes and jams, and like badminton and clothing. That's a really small target audience, people who like all 3 of those, compared to just people who like marketing, people who like baking, people who like fitness. Those are 3 much larger target audiences. So rather than combining them all together, it would be worth separating them out, having different accounts, different brands that you can talk to your audience on. Hopefully that's helped you out a little bit there, Amal. But yeah, that's what I would definitely recommend. So it doesn't look like we've got any other questions, and we're just about running out of time. So let's look at our next steps. So first of all, remember, anybody who works for a small business or charity in the UK, and again, it is just the UK, I'm afraid, we do have free 1 hour long one-to-one mentoring sessions at g.co/UK mentoring. So do take advantage of that. I think it's a really great program and we can really help you out with your business. And that's about it. So all that's left for me to say is thank you. So a big thank you to everybody who has come along, who's asked questions, who shared their answers to questions. Thank you so much for interacting and just for watching this webinar. It's really lovely to know that we've been able to hopefully help you guys out today. If you've got any feedback for us, if you think that this was a great session or if you think that this was a terrible session, it helps us massively if you leave us feedback. So our feedback form can be found at goo.goal/digital garage feedback. That tells us how well we've been doing, and we use that to improve these sessions in the future. And of course, a big thank you to Roshane, who's been an amazing moderator. So a huge thank you there. Thank you so much, Roshane. And yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. So I'm out of time now. So all that's left is for me to say goodbye. So take care, everybody. Stay safe. I hopefully will see you again on another Google Digital Garage session. I'm doing another one this afternoon, I believe. So hopefully I'll see you there. But if not, I'll see you soon. And enjoy putting all of these things into place and learning more. Goodbye, everybody.